All right. So to start off, the first thing you need to make sure you have on your paper is A, B, C, and D. You definitely needed those. If you wrote down E and F, great. But we're definitely going to talk about these. I'll put E and F on there to see, do a little soft teaching around division with rational numbers. Or just with integers, I guess, because these are just integers. So what I'd like you to do with your partner to start off with, you're going to talk about A and B, but when you do, guys, Ben, when you do, think about the ways to talk. I noticed that. I agree with you. I disagree. Another way to think about it, right? Maybe they multiply different. So when you go to talk with your partner today, use the ways to talk to support your dialogue. Okay? Go. Talk to your partner. Hey, Ben. You guys, this unit for you guys, you can't use a calculator. Sorry. Can you go put them back? This unit is without calculators. Now, certain kids do get to use a calculator, but they have accommodations for it. Got it.
We'll just do it. Negative 3 times 8. No, 8 times 3. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so hopefully you guys had an opportunity to agree or disagree. And remember, one of the things that you can do all the time is to say, so what you're saying is this. That's a great way to paraphrase what the other person said. If you don't have anything to add on to it or to disagree with, you can always say back to them what they said to you. And a lot of times that will help you understand the concept better. Next, let's look up here. Multiplying fractions, anchor chart. Here it is. This will anchor your thinking. Please use it. It will be in the back of the room. Use it. It's a great way to support your thinking. So we got fractions up here. If you notice, fractions we multiply straight across. Very easy. And so I have a negative times a negative. That's two negative factors. Two negative factors makes a positive answer. So I get 8/35 as my answer. Then B, I have one negative factor. So anytime I have an odd number negative factor, what's my answer, Orlando?
Negative.
It is a negative. So over here, I do the multiplication. I add the negative at the end, and I get 27.600. Okay, as my answer to B. Again, using the ways to talk. Okay? Answer C and D and talk to your partner. Go.
Okay.
C and D. C and D. With Liam.
Yeah.
Positive.
So Brian, one thing we're going to do, we're going to have you help manage their binders.
Mm-hmm.
So these are Anthony's. Do they know where their binders are or no? I mean, they have. Max left his at home.
Yeah.
So he said. And so Anthony, so if we can get those and then you add this stuff in there and then basically at the end of class, I think we'll talk about it more. But all right. So how many negative factors do I have in C, Jackie?
You have 5, 6. Oh, you have 2. Yeah.
2 negative factors, which makes my answer going to be positive. So I know that's positive. 2 times 5 is 10 times 8 is 80. 6 times 6 is 36. 36 times 9 is 324. Okay? So that's a positive answer. Here, how many negative factors do I have, Liam? 3. So that means I'm going to have a negative answer. 2 times 4 is 8. Times 3 is 24. Times 2 is 48. So my answer is a negative 48.
Okay, I got a 20, 30.
On which one?
Oh, I just was simplifying it.
Oh, yes, on this one. Yeah. Yeah, you can obviously simplify that one. By 2 at least. By 4.
2 twice.
Yeah. I was just realizing 4 goes in there and 4 goes in there. Okay. E, multiplication and division are exactly the same, right? Same algorithms. So, here I have 1 negative factor. So, negative 4 is my answer. Here I have 1 negative factor. Negative 3 is my answer. Exactly the same algorithms as multiplication, which is pretty handy. Questions about this? Okay, next. The algorithms are on here. This is one thing I noticed, guys, with the test. Hey, Riley, can you move to the back? It seems like when I talk, you're talking. So, a lot of you, adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers is hard. It's not easy. So, because it's a difficult thing to remember, I gave you a place to anchor your knowledge. Where is that place? Back here. Anytime you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Oh, it's adding a negative. Which way do I go? And the thing I noticed is we did not use this. It wasn't until the retake that I'm like, my goodness, that's right up there. The kids were they were just kind of like guessing at it or trying their best, but they weren't sure. It's right here. It doesn't matter if I'm in the negative, positive. Those statements are true. They're algorithms. They're always true. So if you're taking the retake, use that. That will support your learning. And it's much better than me telling you, because when I tell you, it's like you do it and you forget it. When you do it, you remember it. It's empowering. It's a better way of learning than guessing or me telling you. Okay? You become more independent. Retakes, make sure you start the process. I'll be here tomorrow morning. I have a number of kids coming in to do the retake tomorrow morning. I'm not going to be here early Wednesday. And I possibly will come in early Thursday. We'll see. To support you guys. Because I know a number of you might want to. If you did not do well, don't freak out. But I wouldn't just accept my grade at what I got if I wasn't happy with it. Because if you think that test was difficult, the unit test is really difficult in comparison. So you want to do well on this one. So if you didn't do well, take the time to do better and to learn it. I will help you do that. I had a number of kids in today and I was working through with them to make sure they learn what they need to know. I will do that. My lunch is supposed to be a duty-free lunch. I'm not supposed to have kids. But I do it because I care about you guys and your learning. Okay? So make sure. I'm not going to make you come in if you got a D or C. But if you want to do better, please come on in, go through the process. Same as 6th grade. You just come in during your lunch. Okay? And I'll give you the paper. And away you go. You show me the process, and then come in the morning and take the test. Okay? Any questions about that? Okay. Today, I can determine algorithms. It's day 2 of this, right? We got the algorithms right here. No different in division. You guys rocked it on the homework. You did really well. There was only a couple minor mistakes. So I don't think we need to go over any of those problems. And this is what I'd like you to do. Again, using the ways to talk. A good one that you can use up here. It sounds like to me that this page is about blah, 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 blah. If someone says something to you, you can always say what is back to them. And again, another one to use in this conversation would be, I noticed that. So I want you to talk to your partner about 3.2. Go. No. Lulu, these guys.
3.2.
Yeah, get your paper out. Talk to them about 3.2. Using...
What paper?
It's the paper, Max, that you didn't bring today. That's what you decide. You get to choose what to talk to them about. You talk to them about 3.2. You can say things like, I noticed that, or it sounds like, or if they're talking to you, you can say, oh, so what you're saying is...
So it's about multiplying rational, or it's like positive times positive, negative times positive.
Okay, so I heard kids saying like, I noticed that this is about, having algorithms for multiplying rational numbers. Absolutely. I heard someone say, so what you're saying is when you have a fraction, you multiply straight across. Guys, I know it sounds very, very simple, but doing that alone creates a better foundation, and it takes it from short term and moves it more likely to long-term memory, which is what you want to know. You don't want to forget this stuff. Today, here's your work. Any questions about any of the work? Some of you might have got to A, but not many of you did the other day. Okay? Some of you maybe got to B. But most of us only got through 50, through 55. So your job today are these. I will be cutting everyone off to make sure they all get to at least D today. Okay? All right. Get going.
I'm going to take a picture just to remember when I go down.
Let's do our work in here. Why you gotta do it down there?
But this is also other stuff I want to do once it gets done with A.
You know what? With this guy going, I feel more comfortable with you being here.
No, I've been in your class, so no, I already got the go ahead. I already got the go ahead.
Max, who'd you get the go ahead from? Max, you've been good the whole time
But I'm not
being
going to
here.
be missing anything.
Well, this way I can support you. I'm the one who knows the math. Right?
Definitely.
If you go down there, she doesn't know how we're learning the math.
That was more of last week to get
Caught up. Totally. Yeah, and he's still working on that, which is awesome. I like that. I appreciate that. I got 2 papers today. It was awesome. Okay, how about this then? So you might have gone A, B, and C, but D and E are brand new. I put those in. So you start on D. Is your paper down here?
Probably. I'm talking about this paper.
How much you can?
As much as I can.
Okay. I'm not saying that's what you answer, but that's what I'm expecting you to do.
But there's only 4 questions.
Oh, but there's a lot to it.
Numbers are not
If you don't get to it, Max, you don't get to it. You're starting Friday school. Okay? Talked to this guy last week. I just cleared it up with. So, don't you understand?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay, grab a book. And then I need you to bring it back and show me that at the end of the period.
I don't know what page it's on.
58 and 59. 3.2.
Warren, can we go behind Maya, please? you have to go 3 times 4 and then 3 times a half. Or you can rewrite it like 3.45, right? Or you can turn it into a fraction. Does that make sense? Those are your 3 choices.
Hey guys, if you guys can look over here just real quick, it won't take long. Part of A has this. It has 3 times 4.5. You have 3 choices how to do this problem. Choice number 1, take 3, multiply it by 4. And then take 3 and multiply it by a half. And then you add those answers together to get your answer. So that's one way. I can't just go 3 times 4 and expect to get the right answer. I have to do 3 times 4 and then 3 times a half. Or I can rewrite this as that and do it that way. Right? Because 4.5 and 4.5, they're the same. Or the last way, turn that into a fraction, turn that into a fraction, and do it that way. So you have 3 choices on that one. You get to choose which one to do. But I just want to make sure you're not just doing this. It's not just 3 times 4. Okay? You have to multiply it by the whole number and then by the fraction. All right. So finish up and then we'll show you these products. Is that on? Okay. You have 2 negative factors. Yeah, I know. Oh, okay. I didn't see it wrong. Okay. Yeah, that totally works.
What do you think? I just came in behind it.
Okay, you haven't gotten to D. Okay? Go to D. That's everyone. You're not there. Okay, go to D now and start on D. No, go to D2. Good. Make sure you do D1 and D2.
Just go straight to D?
Yep, straight to D. Straight to D. Yeah. No, it says find each product. Predict the sun. So when they just say predict the sun, all they're really meaning is like how many negative factors and what's my sign going to be at the end. So A, what's your sign going to be? Boom. Yeah. And then they want you to solve it. Talk quick.
That's explain our reading for everyone.
Are you doing 56? So think about it. There's 50 to 150, right? So you add 18 more.
Yeah.
160.
Do you need the
No, just find the product and then what they should do is put their sun first and then find the product.
So you have to like write why you find it.
Yes. On D2, you guys, on D2, the whole reason why we're doing this. So on D2, the reason why I said use the math rubric is I went through 2.5 classes of open responses. And I was like, wait, like this is not the quality that I was expecting for like how to respond to an open response. So I haven't decided how I'm going to grade those yet. So I thought, well, I think first of all, I might have to do some more teaching on it. So that's what I'm doing now. Because I feel like our open responses aren't where they need to be. There's a lot of 2 out of 4s, like a ton. That's only a 50%. And I'm like, I know we've talked about it and practiced it, but maybe we need to practice it more. Because 2 out of 4 is not what I was expecting. So when you get to D2, use the math rubric. And that math writing rubric is up here. And it's in your binder too. It's all over your reflections. But it's right there. That would not be what you want for an answer. That's what I was just saying in D2. Like, oh, okay. I'm just looking for your D2. Okay, all right. No. Not for every single one. It says explain how you use what you know about multiplying 2 rational numbers.
Oh, I'm the way
Oh. Okay, let's go over D1 and D2. So first one, you notice I have the problem down. 2 negative factors. So we know that 2 negative factors makes a positive. Here we have, well, the 4 is almost erased, but we have 1, 2, 3 negative factors. That's going to make a negative answer, 240. Here I have 1 negative factor. So I get a negative answer. Okay, and I'm multiplying straight across. So that was the easy part of D. So this is what I'd like you guys to look at here. So, whoa, and that would have been bad. Answer all the parts of the question. Part of that, did I restate the question? Read your first part. Did you restate it? Because this part on the open responses was really like so many kids, depending on how I grade this, they're going to lose a point here because they're not restating the question. Restate the question. Write your answer. What like when you write it, answer it, and then the last thing, explain your answer. So let's look at what I did here. Okay. So my restatement says, when multiplying 2 or 3 rational numbers, you need to count how many negative factors you have. So I restate that question because it's asking me, what's the difference between having 2 and 3 negative numbers? And so this was my reply. So I answered the question, I restated the question, but the part I have not done yet is explaining my answer. So, if you have an odd number of negative factors, your answer is negative. And then I go on to say, if you have an even number of negative factors, your answer is positive. And then I ran out of room. So here I would have said, for example. Because now I'm getting to this part. I want to illustrate my answer. So here I'm going to write, for example, negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Negative 1 times negative 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Even number of factors, odd number of factors. So you can see that like it takes time. When I ask you to respond to the rubric, follow the math writing rubric, you need to be thorough. And practicing it is going to allow you to be more thorough. Okay? If you just rush it, chances of you doing it later on. And then the biggest piece is that if you're not practicing it, you're not quite understanding how to be more detailed. And that's a big thing in math, is how can I be as detailed as possible? Okay, moving ahead to the exit ticket and homework. Planners are out, please. Homework for tonight, 14A and B on page 68. 14A and B. And then look what it says. Use the math rubric. Practice restating the question, answering it, and then explaining your answer. Then, of course, use math vocabulary. But then also provide an example and explain your example. So here, we have two problems. You want to have both these problems written down on your paper. There's a mistake with both of them. Find and identify the mistakes. We have -3 -4ths. So it's -3 divided by -4 times -7 divided by -8. The reason why I'm doing this is I need you to realize that you can have negatives in your numerator and negatives in the denominator. Get them copied down, Jacob? What's the mistake in the first one? Michaela? Yeah. Because here I'm going a negative times a negative. That should make my numerator over here a positive. This should be 21 over 32. And so I would just write should be positive. The bottom is great because a negative times a negative equals a positive. Perfect. That should be my answer. This one over here, Riley. James?
They didn't move the decimal.
Nice. They didn't move the decimal. So when you have a number, you know the decimal is always at the end. It's holding one place value here. Should have been over 1. So I would put move the decimal. Ooh. Okay. It should be a negative because it's a negative times a positive, right? Uh-huh. You guys, great job. Have a great afternoon. Nice work today. You guys worked hard.